If you want to do this cute little gouache painting of a kitty cat on a couch looking out a window, stay with me in this video and we'll do it step by step together. Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a fabulous day today. I'm going to be doing a gouache painting in my little sketchbook here. I've got my Meeden palette and it's empty right now, but I'm going to be using the Shinhan gouache set. And this is a professional designer's gouache and I really love using it actually, but I need to grab it more. So I thought today would be a perfect day. And I started already and made a basic pencil sketch. It's very doodly. I'll kind of hold it up and show you. And we're going to be painting this in. So if you are wanting to just try something new, there's just some very basic shapes here. And I've got a couple of brushes that I'm going to be trying here today. And we're just going to have some fun and see what happens. One thing I was thinking of is I'm not sure what colors I want to use. I think I definitely am going to be using some green. I'm going to actually grab this permanent green light, and this is sort of a yellow green, and I'm going to use that for some of the scenery outside the window, and then I might even use it in some of the sort of inside furniture. I'm also going to grab this turquoise blue, and my cat is in the window right now having some fun right in front of my art table. So we're painting cats while we're hanging out with cats. All right, so there's that. I'm going to grab a fair amount of white, and I'm also going to grab, let's see, some scarlet red and some yellow, and we'll just get ourselves a little bit of a mixing palette here. This is the permanent yellow, and I'm just putting out a little of each one since I'm not sure exactly what all I'm going to use yet, but this will be a good start. So we've got a blue, a yellow, a red, white, and green. I can also grab burnt sienna or black if I want it, and I am going to start filling things in. So I'm going to try to be a little bit strategic here because I don't want to put wet next to wet and make it smear too much. So I think, going to work on this outside wall first. And I think maybe a little bit of blue-green. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Let's do kind of a dark color for the wall, kind of this muted blue right here, because honestly, I kind of want the focus to be on the outside. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of this scarlet, which is a very warm red, and mixed with this blue, it's technically going to be purple, but it's going to be a really muted color. And I think that will look kind of cool. And we can always add another layer over the top. So I'm going to work on this and get it all around the outside, and this will kind of be the frame of our painting. Now I'm trying a couple of different brushes here that I haven't used before, so that's going to be kind of interesting to experiment with a bit, and we'll just kind of see how this goes. I'm not going to the very edge of the page, but I am going to create a bit of a frame here around the painting. And this will be kind of the wall of the room. Turns out I mixed maybe just the right amount. Oh, nope, I need a little bit more because we have the area underneath the window. All right, so we are off to a pretty good start so far. So that is our wall. I even kind of painted in between the edge of the window and the little curtain rod that we've got. So that's kind of fun. Now I'm going to work on painting in some of this scenery. So I'm going to grab some of this yellowish green and just get it mixed up a bit in my palette. And I'm going to add a little bit more yellow and a little bit of this color to kind of tone it down a bit, just like that. And I'm going to put this outside, so I kind of sketched in some hills, and I'm going to start with that. And go right around our cat. And right around our curtain. The hill kind of flattens out a bit and turns into maybe like the yard. I wonder how long this will actually take to paint, because it's going pretty quickly and I'm doing a very kind of flat painting. So I'm going to keep this green here, but I'm going to add a little bit more blue to it to change up the color. I'm going to add just a little bit of water also, just to keep this nice and activated and get a slightly different color. And then I'm going to go in and do that background hill, but I'm going to get even a little bit more of a different color. And you know what? I'm going to add a little bit of white to this also, kind of desaturate it a bit. And that's, I think, nicer. Yeah. And I'm going to go next to this little tree. This gouache is just a real pleasure to use because it goes on extremely smoothly and the colors blend nicely, and you can see I don't really have to use another coat. And I'm being kind of sparing with my water so that I use more paint than water. I don't want it to be like watercolor watered down, but I think that looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to add just a little bit more water because this kind of dried out a bit. I'm going to grab some more white and really gray this out and lighten it up a bit. And I've got one last hill kind of back here in the background, maybe kind of almost a mountain, and that comes right on the other side of this tree, just like that. Now what I might do is darken up this bottom hill just a little bit more because I want it to definitely pop out a lot from those background ones. So I added a little bit of red to tone this down more, darken it up, a little bit more of that green. Let's see what that looks like. Even that's still a little bit too samesies, but now we're heading back toward brown. Let's see how this looks. It's a little bit darker. I think that looks pretty good. I can always come in and add another coat if I need to. I think that's enough difference there. So now I'm going to grab some of this yellow and make a different green for our tree. And that will be a nice warm green. And this is just going to be a very simple tree. And I'm kind of scumbling my brush a little bit to give it a tiny bit of texture. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab some of this brown that kind of got mixed up and do our little trunk. And then I'm going to grab some of this blue and some white and a nice light color for the sky that's outside. This is looking pretty cute. All right, I'm going to keep using this blue. I'm going to mix a little bit of this other color into it and plenty more white and make almost like a little bit of a minty green it's looking like here. And I am going to, let's see, do I want to do the couch or the floor? Let's do the couch. Why not? I love this color here. I guess we're going to have a pretty green heavy painting, looks like. I'm adding a little bit more of the darkness so that you can see the arm of the chair. And then I'm going to kind of continue that down to the bottom of the couch. So here's some of it, and let's grab just some other color from here. I want to make sure I get it nice and wet, and we're going to almost have like a shadowy color. We're having a very green painting here. All right, I need some more white, probably quite a bit more white, but we'll just go slow. And dip just a little bit of water out of here. We're going to have some nice sort of yellow-ish curtains. And I've got a little bit of that sort of green blue mixed in my brush, and I'm just leaving it in there because it's kind of creating some texture here in the curtains, which I like. Now I don't know if I'm going to keep all of these colors, but I kind of like how it's looking so far. It's a very warm painting. This is pretty nice. I like it. I think I'm going to go straight into the yellow here and give us a nice sunny window and some golden color up top. Now I'm going to work on adding a little bit of dry brush texture to this little couch. Kind of like that with a second color. It's kind of good. I don't mind that a bit. All right, and then I'd add a little bit of yellow out here to this tree. Maybe a little bit in that front hill. Almost like a little bit of a glaze, just to warm it up and make it even a little bit more different from the outside color. Now I'm going to grab, well, you know what do we want to do with this floor? I think I'm going to grab some more white, and I'm just going to ever so slightly tint it with a little bit that I've got left over here, just to give it a slightly off-white hue. That's what we're going to do to our floor. So it's just very slightly yellow. And actually, I'm probably going to add a little bit of that to our window also, and just brighten some things up. And add a little bit of something to look at. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then maybe we add a little bit of a highlight on top of the couch. And maybe a little bit on top of this couch arm. Don't be shy with it. And then maybe a little bit on the top of the seat there. Yeah. And then how about a little bit on this windowsill. Now I'm thinking that I would like to have an orange tabby, and I've got this red out already. Let's see what we can get here. So I've got a little bit of that yellow, a little bit of my red, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this green to neutralize it just a bit. I'm going to grab a little bit more. It's just a very thin layer of green. So, and this is kind of what I'm looking for. It's a nice little bright, but not like as bright as the sun for our little cat. That's a cute little guy. I like that. I'm going to grab a little bit of this white here with my brush. There's like a little tiny blob of white that doesn't really have green in it. So I'm kind of picking that up, and I'm just going to add a little bit of marks and kind of blend it with that orange so that you can see just a little bit of texture in that little kitty cat. And I'm going to kind of go around where his little leg would be and just adding a hint of that in there. Maybe even with a little bit more red. And then I'm going to work on some shadows. So I'm grabbing a little bit of this red mixed with that blue. Add some green in here. We get kind of a nice little brown. I'm going to add that underneath the kitty. I'm also going to add it to a couple little areas of these curtains, almost like they're shadows, and they're kind of warm shadows. And this is kind of a watery paint mix, but just so we can get some more contrast there. And I'm actually going to kind of brush back a little bit of this so it's not quite as heavy with a hard line. So I'm just blotting my brush and just softening the edge of that just a little bit. And then last but not least, I'm going to add some little stripes to our floor and some little ends to our curtain rods. And I think we can call this good. So I'm going to give you the close-up. This was a fun little sketch with gouache, little orange tabby. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want ideas on how to use your gouache. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep creating.